Okay, it's another weekend. Another week has gone by, and it's time to go back again and review the week's action and look at some charts. I've got a cold, I'm not feeling great, but I think we can persevere. I felt a lot better after doing I think they're called nasopharyngeal wash. I was reading about COVID and things you can do if you catch COVID to things you can do yourself in terms of care and treatment. And apparently just a simple saltwater wash of your nasal cavity and back of your throat. Just suck a bunch of warm salty water up your nose basically until you feel it trickle down the back of your neck. Will work wonders. And I've got a rotten cold. I thought, well, hey, it's a cold virus, right? So I'll try this wash thing. Well, I'm coughing now, but the relief was, that's because I'm talking, but the relief was almost instant. Really effective, really recommend it. I guess every time I'm sick now, I'll be doing that. Anyway, we're not here for folk remedies and home healing, we're here for charts and trading. So this is... It's not COVID, I've taken 3 COVID tests this week because of where I work, and it's just a cold, it's not COVID. Anyway, this is the silver chart. So this big red line here has been such an important support. We've worked our way up through this year-long range, back up to near the top of the range in this wonderful daily channel. We've been chopping around, no gaps in price action. Everything's been just filled with price action, and then we're posting up on the top of this support line after doing the back test on the weekly levels here. You can see that weekly trend line in mint shock chip green and the big 50 weekly fib and the more local 23.6 on the daily fib. And we went up, spiked these highs, took down, came back into here at the end of last week, and I was complaining about it because I got stopped out on this wick down and I had to get back in. So around the red support line here is where I got back in, and I'm still in. And I got knocked out one more time, but I got back in again. Very similar levels, and you can see the depth that we pulled back up. All of this moved down, all the way down to 27.37 or thereabouts, pushed all the way back up, and we get this hammer with a higher close. On the RSI of on-balance volume, you can see we've had this building, channeling, positive reversal energy. There's not been a negative divergence, it's been a positive reversal. We've broken the trend line, and then on Wednesday of this week, we back tested it and went up. This ranging action, however, has put ease of movement in neutral mode, and again the RSI of ease of movement is just sort of flopping around because the price has gone nowhere. Indecisive volume is neither driving it up nor driving it down, so it is balanced, so it's not easy to drive it up. There is no ease of movement up especially, and there is no ease of movement down especially. So I'm inflicting my bias upon this and saying this is another building positive reversal. Whether I should do that or not, who knows. We started on the daily, but let's go out to the weekly. There's the weekly close, very satisfying. This was the rejection last week, the push back down, still marginally higher close, and we've pushed back up into this space where we were rejected back down into this red support last week has been the space that we've gone back into. We've reinvaded that space again this week. We've got the head, the left shoulder, the right shoulder still on the RSI of OBV on the weekly. Ease of movement is still green. We've back tested the weekly line. Ooh. And then we're looking really, it looks so good. It looks so good. The worst they can do to us, I think, is fuck us around till the end of June. I don't think, even if we do sort of another test, a little dip and another test, maybe the end of June, start of July at 26.75, something like that. I think that's the worst they can do. Otherwise, I do think green for go. I don't know if my green for go arrow is still on here. Yeah, it is. This is where I decided we were green for go. On the 13th, that's when I decided we were green for go time. Well, we've gone a little bit. We've gone a little bit. I know, we'll see. Let's go down to the 4 hour. Stick with it. Yeah, so it was below these wicks, this double wick take here. 1, 2. This is where I'm in again under here. I'm in again under the red support on that double wick take. And again, look, higher close, lower close. Low here, much lower low here, but price is higher. So we saw the positive reversal in the RSI of OBV. We saw this plain, straightforward bullish divergence on the RSI V's for movement. Again, plain, straightforward, bullish divergence on the actual ease of movement histogram. Let's go down to the 2 hour. There's the yellow daily channel. There's the big red longer term like weekly support line, and there's those wick number 1 and wick number 2. And I placed a duplicate blue channel line, which is potentially going to be important in the future. The blue channel lines are derived from the 6 hour, and I've just duplicated one and put it on this low here, assuming it's going to be a significant low. The yellow channel has proved its worth. With blue channel, I'm not convinced, but we'll see how it plays out, if it becomes of any value. So we've reached above this high here, this previous high here, put in the doji, and then closed slightly higher in the final hour. But we are towards the top of this range area. We're back into testing this block here that led to this decline. It could be this purple area here where we take another pause, take another reversal. If everyone's too excited, maybe too looking for a breakout. But I mean, good grief, surely we can't be waiting much longer. We've been waiting forever already. It feels like forever. But we'll see. Let's go down to 30. Yep, there we go. So there was this triangle on the way down, and that's that distribution block. There's another little one. That one's been exhausted presumably with this. This is the one we were looking at in the 2 hour. Triangle, apex of the triangle projected across, formed the neckline here. Formed a doji, cut through, back tested. Formed a positive reversal. And then at the end, in a very, very gratifying way, at the end of Friday's session, we went up and we closed above. And again, this is a 30-minute red horizontal line. 30-minute red horizontal line. I think it's just capturing the actual head and shoulders part, in line with this apex, in line with this bottom, in line with this top, in line with this spike which topped here, in line with all this pivot action going on. And there's the purple box. So we are, if we're going to have trouble, it's going to be between basically where we closed and about 28.05, 28.10. Come Monday, come Tuesday. But I really want it to be go time. Really, really, really want it to be go time. So there's the yellow daily channel. You can see we deviated, we violated it. There's wick 1, there's wick 2 that we saw on the high times frames. And there's my speculative, tentative blue channel line. That's been normally put in after the fact, but there was the black line I put on the wicks on the 30-minute time frame. So big confident trade. I'm in again from somewhere down here. And again, going back up to the weekly, it's got to be time. It's just got to be time again. Maybe I'm being too optimistic. Maybe we get to 40 by September, but you know, that's 1,200 points. I should be able to get in for £2 a point. Build a position maybe to £3 a point. So I would certainly look to take a lot off it if we ever got up that high, and that would be a very substantial multiplication of the amount of money I've started with, if that happens. Bitcoin's been very active. I normally save this to last, just look at it for fun, but let's maximise price. So here's weekly Bitcoin. Remember when Bitcoin was at 100? Of course you do. Remember when Bitcoin was at 200? Oh yeah, if only in 2015. If only in 2015 you'd been sinking your, maybe my unemployment checks into Bitcoin. I could be a millionaire. A billionaire, maybe. I'm a trillionaire with this crazy Bitcoin. But anyway, we're below multi-trend line resistance. We've had a head and shoulders. We're at stupidly high prices, as far as anyone can tell. Because again, what's a Bitcoin worth? But it seems like it's very high. And then the head and shoulders distribution, big old plunge, and the yellow line, the light blue line, the orange channel line, the two descending, the one ascending, are all taken from lines that fit. If we look at the light blue line from way back when, and we've duplicated them, we've found, well, they keep fitting. They fit price action again. And the light blue line, look, projected from these highs, they even backtest it, it fits again. And so what I've been doing is I've just been duplicating these light blue lines, these yellow lines, these orange lines, and slapping them on at different places that seem relevant in recent price action. Recent in terms of the weekly chart, that is. I say recent, this is February of last year. And obviously the very recent highs. And you can see, look at the way the wicks go exactly to that yellow line. And then we wick into it exactly again here. Now, once might be a coincidence, two might be a bit of coincidence. You could say that's just a top, bottom. Three times, it's getting harder to say. It's not of any significance. The blue line projected. Look how that acted as pressure on that close. The close was below. Yeah? And look at it, the high of the month so far. Or the week rather. Couldn't get above it. So if we look at the yellow lines, again they come from where? Here. Look, there you go, you've got a diagonal between this low and this high, which is backtested here. We project it from the midpoint of this high and this low, kind of, sort of. It's an artistic license. If I make it a bit more precise, there you go. From this low, it touches this low. Oh God. Again here, it's a high, it's a low, it's a low, it's a bottom. They cut through it, they consolidate underneath it. It's wicked. It's significant. From these highs, it captures these high wicks. We get a accumulation area within, almost practically, these yellow bounds, and then the light blue line. Within those bounds, we get weeks of accumulation, blast off. And then that's where the yellow line comes from. The orange channel lines, you can see, it's a high in 2011. It's a low in November 2011. And then whoosh, it's a low in March of 2020. I don't know if that was the original one. It could have been one of these, one of these, one of these, one of these. Any of the orange ones, because they're all duplicated. And then again, I've just shot them across my chart from anything that looks like we're getting multi-touches. It's acting as a pivot, it's acting as a magnet. You can see we've just here, again, we've gone under it here. Here, we're catching this, consolidating under, deviation below. We're going all the way back, we're getting touch here, we're acting kind of, if you thicken that up, if you put it on like the thickest line setting, it'll be support, and again, we're a top here, we're a bottom here. Projected from here, projected from here, projected from here. That's where these different orange lines have come from. Shit. As for the black lines, you can see it's just I wanted something at a less steep angle. The orange lines are very steep. Like if we came down to the bottom of this orange channel, that would take us down to 14,700, and that's a heck of a decline. That's an enormous, but compared to the history of the price of Bitcoin, and you might say this is so ancient now, it's irrelevant, because on what planet would it ever go back to these levels when there were only, maybe a few thousand people, a few 10,000 people, even vaguely interested in this period of history, and it's never going to go back there. But I still wanted something with, it wasn't as steep, so we've got these black channel lines, we've got a touch here, we've got a touch here, and projected from the high here. It nearly touches here. So, you know, why not? So my take on Bitcoin is, as long as we're under that trend line confluence, as long as we're under these levels, you're going to be selling Bitcoin. I would be selling Bitcoin. Not financial advice. Just kidding, it's all demo, etc. And again, I'm talking to myself primarily here. This is my trading diary. And I don't even trade Bitcoin, but it's an eye test. Anytime you look at the chart, even if you're not going to trade it, it's an eye test. I've got my red arrows here. It's pretty clear what I would be, you know, in the future, I come back to it, it's going to be pretty clear what I was thinking at this point in time. And we'll see if it plays out or not. We'll see what happened. And I can look back and reflect on that. So anyway, the last shall be first. So the dollar and the euro really putting in, and also the pound, really putting in sort of, you know, inverse moves of each other. We should expect. Here we've got a spike up and a rejection, but again, maybe that was just everyone panic getting out, offloading, and they're going to rip right through it. And now that area's been cleared, they can rip right through it, and we'll get a blistering up move. That on the euro again. This is where people were like, saw it plunging down, and just trying desperately to get out before we come down again, and they take bigger losses. You know. This was an offloading before shit your pants move. People who bought here panicked and got out here because they know it's coming lower. Who knows? Because that could be a back test of this wedge. Again, there's an inverse and opposite wedge on the dollar index. Who knows? There's the back test of the resistance break on OBV. There's the back test in price of the price line. Who knows what's going to happen? It doesn't look great. Other than that's a very strong buying action, and we closed higher. That's your positive take basically. You know. So the classic, it could go up, it could go down. Well, that's markets. Don't get upset with me. If the macro trade is still, you're expecting the dollar to shit itself, like I am, you're buying silver, things like that, then, you know, hopefully this will be like just a sign that when even a wedge breakout has got no oomph to it, there's no fuel there, and it's just going to fucking, you know, plummet now. Because this was their big opportunity to get out of the wedge. It sort of deflated and all the air came out, and it just was a bit of a damp squib and sank back down again. That's the take that is in line with my bias, I guess, of someone buying silver. But still, erratic, spiky, shaky price action. I don't like it. The Nikkei. So I did say on Twitter that if the Nikkei could breach this line, it would have some significant upside, potentially even bonkers upside. Yeah, somewhere up in these lofty heights. But as you'd expect, we come into this line here at 29,210. I mean, that was far enough. You know, this was a big candle here. We've come up into all this, you know, this chop area here, this distribution, and yeah, obviously we're going to come down a bit. We could come back and retest. Well, look, it's a good sign that we broke so decisively above this line here. As a hypothetical trade, I was anticipating that this would be a good buy. I'm glad to see that played out. Again, I don't trade this, but it's an eye test. It's good practice for your mind. S&P 500. It's wonderful that. So here's the channel line from, I think this is weekly, daily lines. You know, this is a long-standing channel going back that captures sort of toppy areas, and we've turned those into lows. We've turned tops into bottoms. We've turned highs into lows. So we've reversed the polarity there. But we are at this pivotal area here at 4,200, at 4,200, and whatever you like. This whole thing is still a bit of a box, isn't it? It's just a big old box dropping you from one side to the other. In general, stocks go up. But is this distribution? Could we come down? Would it be healthy to have a move? Back into the 3,000s before continuation of bull market to something crazy like 4,500? Or is this enough? Is this enough time from April to May, June? I really don't know, and I'm not trading the SP 500, so I don't really care. Look at this channel. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Let's go right now. Look at the half hour. Yeah, I mean, I'd be tempted to go long, but it's stocks. I mean, who isn't tempted to go long stocks? Now I understand that your default position for stocks should be bullish and not bearish. Now I'm not expecting, in that impending financial doom mindset anymore, that bearish mindset. Yeah. But I'm not going to trade it. If we look at bonds, this is the weekly of bonds with my very long-term fibs on. So you can see the 0% is this high here. The 11.4, which is of course the inverse of the 88.6. I use this, and I like it. I like it, ladies and gentlemen. I like the 11.4. Captures a bit of a pivot here, and it drops away from it, pierces and drops away. 23.6, similar. The 38.2 captures this top, captures this double weekly wick, and then becomes this little. It shoots through it, then back tests it. And 50% is a biggie. It captures this high here. It supports then caps price action here, and it's retested. And it's being retested again and again and again from the underside here now. So bonds have experienced, from that high to that low, an 8% decline, to the present close a 7% decline since the high close of July of last year. So 10 months. 10 months ago. So either we're going to hold above this, which is also a big fib. You can see it's a big fib on some other time frame. 23.6, I think that is behind there, which acted as a roof on close here. It's now becoming a floor on these wick spikes down here. So as long as we stay above here, and I think the fact that we're continually challenging the other side of the 50 means bonds may continue up, which would be fucking great for silver. So I've got a triangular 14 period triangular moving average of my 9 period of easy movement, and it's sort of flipped light green for bullish and red for bearish, and it's just another signal. That's gone blue. So is this accumulation, or is this distribution, and we're going to have another leg down to, I don't know, 10,700, 10,800 would be reasonable targets. Well, let's go down to the daily and take a closer look. from the point of view of my silver trades, as I said last week, it doesn't bother me too much what bonds do at the moment because, again, an 8% drop in bond prices, some sort of corresponding rise in rates, and silver's just been in a big year-long range. It's not really affected it one way or another. But on the daily, so this is a source of, a little bit messy, but the channel down. We broke out the channel. Whoosh! We came down to this area here in the purple box. After breaking down from the channel, we came back up into the channel, scolded by it, ran away. We came back up into it again, into the sort of the middle of these two expanding channel lines that capture different parts of the downtrend. Put a little doji here, and then another little sort of doji thing here. Small candles, Thursday, Friday. Whew. Who knows what this means? A very tight price action. I mean, you know, if we sort of create a channel for it, you can see that that's pretty tight. That's a pretty tight range. I like that channel actually. I'm going to change the colour. But I'm getting so many lines on here, it's going to be hard for me to sort of see. Let's just do the most bright green we can. We've got blue, yellow, and black won't show up really much. Let's just do super green. Super green. Yeah, that's nice. And again, here's the underside. That's the big 50% long term fib channel that we keep testing from the underside. As long as the green channel holds, maybe it's not a bear flag, maybe it's something else. Maybe we'll break out of it. And there's the black support we were talking about as well. Not too bothered either way what that does. We've looked at the dollar. Let's look at the FTSE. Yeah, I mean, look at the FTSE. Just look at it. Look at it. It's another box. It's another box. It's another box. Life's all about boxes. The womb is a box. Your coffin is a box. You live in a room or a house or a cave if you're a cave person. Humanity spends its life in boxes, and when it doesn't have access to boxes, it creates them and puts themselves in it. And people say, "Ha ha ha! Look at those cats on that YouTube video. They're always going in boxes." And people never see the irony. People never reflect on their own lust to be contained in boxes and see boxes. Get inside other people's boxes. If everyone involved consents. Yeah, anyway, so I just drew this pivot thing in here. As long as we're above this, who gives a shit? I don't know what I'd be doing if I was trading the FTSE. Because I mean, look at this. Just look at the state of it. I mean, look at this state of it. The absolute state of it. Is there actually anywhere on this in here you could buy or sell without just getting, wicked? Wicked. You got wicked. 999. You know, what is the nature of your emergency? I've been trading the FTSE and they've just wicked the absolute fuck out of me. My stop loss was 800 points away, and we've been trading in a range, and I still wasn't safe. And there's, the operator will tell you that it's not an emergency. That's a normal situation, but it's still far too extreme for them to deal with. It's an emergency for you, but you have to live with the disaster. Oh, FTSE. But what all this chopping is doing is wearing out the indicators. You could say that's a positive reversal. We're wearing out in time rather than price, rather than plunging to new lows of price. We're exhausting through we're correcting through time. Maybe, but again, the yellow pivot line, the trend line segment here is what's important, I think, in all of that. Let's go down to the hourly. It's ugly as sin, and within the box, that's lasted for months. You've got another big ugly box. Big and ugly. I should never trade. If I've got any sense, I will never trade the FTSE again. And look at the Nasdaq. Look how much nicer this is. You know, just look at it. Lots better. Anyway, we'll end it there.